Hello, I am Amanda, and welcome to Tatas and Tea. Today, I am here with my friend Devin.
Hi.
He's visiting from Florida, and he is our number one listener.
Truly, I listen to I've literally listened to every episode, and whenever I would see it, on your, Instagram story, I'd be like, okay, cool. I got, every time that I would drive for long periods of time, I would listen to your podcast.
So, I feel like on this podcast, we talk a lot about dating and what dating looks like and being in relationships because, we got some crazy dating stories. But one thing we don't really focus on is, being single.
Truly.
And it's important. Being single is super important. So we're going to talk about singleness and what it's like to be single and maybe a little hyper independent and how that actually does help in relationships when you do get into one.
This is something that I know intimately well because I've been single for most of my life. I kind of came into the dating scene a little bit later. My first boyfriend was when I turned 22. I grew up a little bit later in the gay scene, and then I've only had a couple boyfriends here, but I think that I only got a boyfriend because I was like, oh, other people are like, well, you need one. And so, I was like, okay, sure. And I was like, oh, I need this. This needs to be for me. And I just decided that, okay, sure, let me try it. And so I don't think I have ever gone into a relationship with the mindset that, oh, I would actually really love a partner. It's more so people being like, hey, you actually need this. I'm happy in my relationship, so you need to be happy. And you will be happy because you're in a relationship. And I'm like, I don't think that A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
I think you can be single and not have anyone and be okay with that. So I think that I've navigated life single, and I think I'm okay with that. Whenever I think about my life, I don't see it with another human being being my partner. I'm really good with being alone, and my two dogs, they're the only love that I'll ever need.
Truly. Dogs are really all you need in life, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that it's also interesting because, recently I've seen, and I guess throughout life, I've seen people in relationships and hate it. And it's okay, but you're not making me want to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Literally my happiest times when I think back on my life and when I've been happiest in general, it's when I've been single because I don't have the stress of a relationship or specifically unhealthy relationships because a lot of my relationships have been unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of people feel a pressure to be in relationships because it's what society tells us, like you said. And even people who are single will put pressure on you to date. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who's single who's constantly trying to hook people up, and he set me up on a couple really, really bad dates because he's like, I want you to find love. And it's I don't necessarily want or need that, but he wants it in his life. He wants to get married and have kids and do all those things. And I think so for him, he's oh, these are the things I want. So other people want them. And I want to see my friends happy.
I say that I'm single and I'm really liking it. And that's not to say that if I ever were to find something, I would say, oh no, I can't because mm-hmm. I'm single and I'm, living that life. I think that I'd be open to it. But I don't think that I'm going to place value on if I do or if I don't. If I find something, great. If I don't find something, also great. Because there's other things in my life that are filling that cup that fills the relationship cup,
That's why I think a lot of people look to relationships. It's to fill those voids or like you said, the cups that are missing in their lives. A lot of people get into relationships and then that takes over their entire life. And it's oh, people are I want someone to do things with, go on vacation with or go to the movies with or go to dinner with. And I think there's something to be said about doing those things alone. I go and do all of those things by myself. And I think that a lot of people think that they can't, or there's this discomfort in being alone and doing things alone. But I think that in order to be in a happy, healthy relationship, you need to be comfortable with yourself first and with being alone, because relationships really they shouldn't consume your life. They should add to your life. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've discussed with my friends and people I've dated, where it's when you date, this shouldn't take over. Mm-hmm. It's an addition, and it should be a positive. You have your life, and in addition to your life, you have this person in your life. And you should also be able to like live your own lives when you're with someone, and being single and having that independence and knowing what it's like to be independent, and also like knowing who you are. Like it's hard to figure out who you are as a person when your life is so wrapped up around someone else. Like I've seen so many of my friends change who they are and what they do and their interests and stuff because of who they're with. And it's like, I feel like they have no sense of self. Like being single, like you really have to figure out what you like to do and like who you are. And that helps in your life in general, but also in relationships.
But I think like how many of your friends do you know that have like, gotten in a relationship and, you know, to you there's something like they're fun, they're cool, they're chill or whatever. And then they get into a relationship and they change to be who their partner perceives them to be, or who they want to portray to that partner. And you're like, who are you? Literally. Like, how did we get from point A to point B? And it's just like, why do you have to change yourself? Because you're just setting yourself up for failure, because at the end of the day, that's not who you are. Right. And they're going to find that out.
And I think there's like a balance too, because it's one thing to like change who you are and like what you do with a partner. That's like one extreme. But I think it's also like there's a balance in a relationship where like, say you date someone that has completely different interests than you, and like you decide to try those interests. For example, my ex loved hockey. I never watched hockey a day in my life. Okay. I know. It's
the heated rivalry now.
I know,
out.
Right? I started. Fan. Listen, I'm on book 1. I can't watch it until I finish the books, and I've been reading Game Changer for like forever. But like, I was never into hockey, and my ex was super into hockey, so we started going to hockey games together, and then we would go with my friends who like hockey, and now I go to hockey games pretty regularly because like I was like, oh, this is something I actually like enjoyed doing that my ex introduced me to, and like my friends also like so it's like an activity to do. But like I think there's like a balance, right? Because it's one thing to like enjoy hobbies that your partner partakes in that maybe you don't typically enjoy or didn't think you would enjoy, and you're like, oh, okay, actually I do like this, versus like it's not like I became like a diehard like hockey fan and I watch hockey all the time now because like, or like I was watching hockey all the time with her. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, this is something I enjoy. And that's like the difference where like, I feel like sometimes people change and make these things their entire personalities, and then they get out of that relationship and then they get into it and like their wardrobe will change, and like they get into a new relationship and then it's like, okay, you're a completely different person now, and it's like there's no sense of self. But there's no sense of self a lot of times when people like serial date. Like serial daters, you're just not spending enough time alone to really figure out who you are a lot of times.
And what your value add is to that relationship. Again, they're waiting for them to tell them how they should be. And I'm like, but why? Like, you know, like when I date, that's a loose term, because I think that dating culture is crazy now. That like
Horrible.
you go on one date and then it's like maybe you don't see them and then you're like endlessly texting, and then you go on another date and it's just crazy. But like, yeah, they're like they're needing someone to tell them who they should be or whatnot, and I just think that like that's annoying, because it's like, well, I got together with you in the beginning because we had something of interest, and now I'm like, is this real or is this fake? Like, are you just doing this because of me? Prime example, my last boyfriend, we'll call him Luke for funsies. He was a surgeon. I know, rich. He made $17,000 after taxes a month. I know, I should have stayed with him, but here we are.
Month?
Yeah, smartest man I've ever met, richest man I've ever met.
Oh my god.
But like he like needed a nightcap every night, and so like when I would be with him, like I'm not someone who typically goes out, and if I do go out, I don't really drink. It's just not for me. I'd rather spend money on food than I would alcohol. But I was drinking like heavily because it's like, well, he wants to do it, and if I don't do it, then he feels weird. So like, yeah, sure, fine, I'll have a drink, and then a drink leads to two, and then it's just this like, that's not who I am, but I'm like conforming to who I think they want me to be in order for us to progress forward. And I mean, let's be honest, when I started dating him, I was like, and I didn't know that he was a surgeon when I first started dating him. He actually had a French bulldog puppy in his photo, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted a French bulldog. Perfect. And then I found out that he was a surgeon later. I was like, oh, even more perfect. This is great. So I probably didn't have the best intentions in going into that relationship.
Dog and a job. Listen, those are the basics. Cute dog and a good job. Say less.
Correct.
It's like my dad always says $99 in a job, but I'm just saying, get rid of the $99. Have a cute pet.
Correct. And it wasn't even his pet. So I'm like, did you just catfish?
Bamboozled.
Because you look at his profile and you're like, okay, he's cute, dog, love. And I have 2 dogs myself. I have 2 corgis. So like I don't need the other person to have a dog, but I was like, and also one of my dogs hate other dogs. So like truly if he had another dog, I'd be like, it's never going to work out.
Yeah.
And I kept changing myself to be who he wanted, to the point that I was like, I don't want what you want from me. He wanted to move to New York City. And at that point I was like, down. But then he was like, okay, well, we'll be there for like 4 or 5 years and then we'll move to Ohio. I said, hold up. What about me screams that I would thrive in rural Ohio? Because he was from rural Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So what part of that screams like that is for me? And he just kept like planning our lives, and I kept saying like I don't want that. I do not want that. But I think it's because I kept being like, oh my God, yeah, totally. I'm like, I love that. But I didn't. But I was changing myself. And that's another reason why I probably shouldn't be in a relationship. Maybe I need therapy for that one there. Because I'm like trying to change myself and trying to like find rich men. But if you're rich out there, hi.
If you're rich and single, Devin is a catch. Honestly, like I would date him for sure.
I mean, I tell everyone that like I'm the perfect like trad wife meets like butch lesbian.
Facts. That's accurate.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's interesting because I just buzzed my hair, and I used to have like long, like wavy hair. And I went into my boss's office and I was like, Brian, this is who I need to be right now in my life. And he was like, a butch lesbian. I said, precisely. Yes, very that. But yeah, I just think that like I try to change myself to be what they want me to be, and then I lose a part of myself. And so that's another reason why I feel like I need to do the work on myself before I get into a relationship. But I just don't that's probably an excuse. I don't have the time for it right now because I'm like in school and I work full time and I take care of my dogs and blah blah blah. There's always time. You always make time for things that you want to make time for. This I'm just like, it's okay.
Well, you don't want to make time for it maybe because like you don't have an interest in dating. It's like, why would I make time for dating? Why would I make time for therapy to like talk about dating when I don't want to be dating? Like, and that's the thing, like I am so happy when I'm single. So that's why like I'm always like, I don't want to date. And then, I don't really look to date even when I'm like on the apps. Like I kind of like swipe through and whatever, but like I'm like, there's no interest. And like, unfortunately for me, like these people just keep popping up into my life. And I'm like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. That's crazy. I don't date. Like, I don't date. Get away from me. And then I'm like, damn, I like you. Fuck me up in the head a little bit.
Correct.
And then I'm like, fuck dating. Like that, it's always a cycle of like, ugh.
The dating culture now is that like you'll talk to someone for maybe 2 days and then they ghost you. And then I'm like, well, damn, now I have to like start this whole like small talk process. Like, how are you? What are you up to? What do you do for a job or a living? Or like, what do you like to do for fun? It's just so exhausting having that same conversation 40 times and maybe meeting one of those people. And it's like, this is exhausting. Okay, so one of my coworkers divorced his wife. Literally within 2 weeks, found his next partner, and they've been together for a year and a half.
Crazy.
I'm not that person. My best friend is going through a divorce and found someone immediately. I'm like, bitch, I've been looking for 30 some years, and I'm not lucky in that way where you can just like break up with someone and like find someone. Like it's just, that's not for me. Sometimes I kind of wish it was, but also like I'm okay that it's not for me.
But it's also that like you don't necessarily go looking for it. I feel like those people that like do that, it's like they kind of go looking for it. So I have a friend who got divorced and then like basically immediately started dating people, and she like wasn't looking for anything serious, but then she kept getting into these like situationships, and it was like, and then one would end and the next one would start, and that one would end and the next one would start, and blah 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 blah. She would always say like she doesn't go looking for it, but she was like on the dating apps, right? So like, and that's like a lot of times how, you know, these people meet. It's like, okay, you're going through, and it's kind of like you want someone to fill the void, but it's like, ugh, I don't want anything serious, right? But then what happens is like, you meet someone and then it turns into something, either like a situationship or something serious, even though you can go in with the intention of being like, no, I don't want that. But also some people just kind of have that type of like personality where like they're built for relationships. Like some people are relationship people. It's where they thrive. It's where they want to be. They love love. And I love love. Don't get me wrong. But like, I'm not going to force that. Like, I'm not going to go looking for it. Something that has to come naturally, which is why like I just chill and I live my life, and I trust that the universe, like I believe in vibes from the universe, and I trust that the universe is going to send me something when I'm ready for it and when it's right for me. Sometimes the universe do be testing me though.
She does have a special plan for you. For sure. Being
single is like so hard because like, think about it. People in relationships, right? You have a lot of them like live together. You have someone to split like all these expensive with. And also like people in relationships, like, right, they're getting married and having kids, right? So someone gets married. You have their engagement party. You have a bridal shower. You have the bachelorette party. And then you have the wedding that you're like paying all this money for. And especially like if you're a bridesmaid, even more money. And then they have kids. And then you're paying for like the baby shower and these kids' birthdays. And then as the single person, you're like, hey, can you like come out for my birthday? And it's like, oh, sorry, I'm too busy. I can't find a babysitter for the kids. And it's like, I just spent thousands of dollars on your wedding and your kids' birthdays and all of this stuff. And you can't come out for like 3 hours to spend my birthday with me.
Correct.
And I feel like there's like the like a tax, not a tax, but like, you know, there's like,
yeah. It's like you were no longer important enough to spend. And I get it. Like, kids are expensive or whatnot. But, like, that's the life you chose.
There's a group of lesbian friends I have, and, like, they're all in relationships. And they all hang out together, like, coupled. And then there's, like, me. And, like, I want to hang out with them. And, like, I thought, like, I was, like, friendly enough with them to, like, hang out. But I see them, like, hanging out all the time without me. And like, you know, I'm like, maybe I'm not as like friendly with them, but like part of me feels like if I had a lesbian partner, like maybe I would be invited. And I think that happens a lot where I see like people like do couples things as couples, and then it's like as the single friend of the group, you're kind of like left out of things.
Well, because they feel bad for you, because they're like, well, we are in a relationship and we're having so much fun, and Amanda's going to see this and they get jealous, or it's going to feel sad that she's not with someone. But it's like, no, that's not my thought process. Like, I'm just here having fun. And yeah, if you like do your couple things, like fine.
Yeah.
But don't pity me because I'm not in something, because I'm not looking for something.
Right. And like, I don't mind being like the third, the fifth, the seventh wheel. And I've done it so many times. Like, even when I was in like relationships, if like, because I've been in a lot of like long distance relationships too, where like sometimes like my partners aren't around. And like, you know, I went to a hockey game, you know, a couple months ago, and I was seeing someone and it was long distance, and I just seventh wheeled the hockey game because like, who cares? Like, I'm just there to hang out with my friends and have a good time. I don't know. You kind of get treated differently when you are the single friend, you know?
Yeah, truly. So, and then they're like, okay, well, what friend can I like set them up with? Which is also like, please actually don't. I know the people you date and or your friend. I don't really want any of that.
I had a friend here visiting who went out with a bunch. Like, he like met this guy, and like he invited me to go to dinner with them, and he came back and he was like, yeah, like I wanted you to come because there were two lesbians there, and I think you would have really been into the one lesbian. This was like a few months ago. And I was like, oh, was she cute? And he was like, yeah. And then he tells me about the night, and it turns out the lesbians were there. Like, the two lesbians used to date for like 12 years, and they just broke up. And then they were fighting the whole time. And I was like, what in your mind, what happened in your brain hole to be like, this is a good idea for me to set Amanda up with this lesbian that's here with her ex-girlfriend that she just broke up with, and they were dating for 12 years. Like,
That would have caused so much drama if you're like, hey, how are you? Oh my God, we're this connection. And then her literal ex is like dagger eyeing you because like you're now the other woman. And they're probably not over each other like fully.
Right.
You know, getting into another relationship.
Right. Dating is rough. Being single, I mean, listen, it has its negative sides, but like not really.
Okay, well, what are those negative signs?
I guess like the whole like, you know, your friends like
yeah, being the pity.
And also like them not prioritizing you as a friend.
Yeah.
But like being single, like there's something about learning to like be independent and do things on your own. And it's also like, why are you waiting for someone to do things? Like if you want to go to a restaurant, go to a restaurant. Even if you're in a relationship, if you want to go out to eat and your partner doesn't, just go. Like
Correct.
If you want to go on a vacation and like you're single or you're with someone who doesn't, literally just go. I was with a partner who didn't want a vacation with me and I said, all right, bye, I'm out. Like I'm going to go do it. And it's like, and I think it's like, we talk about it as being single, but like, it's also more being independent. I just think it's easier to experience independence when you are single because there's not like almost a default person built in to like do things with.
But I also think that like you have the personality type that you're going to make friends. So Amanda and I met, I think it was like in 2022 on a cruise. And you were at you were at the meeting before the Friends of Dorothy.
The solo meetup.
Yeah, the solo meetup. And then it's like me and my 3 friends that I was there with. And Amanda was like, you look like fun. Let's hang out.
Literally.
And, I mean, here we are.
I think I was like
5 years later.
I was like, oh, are you here for the meetup? Because it went from like the solo meetup to the LGBTQ meetup, basically. And I like turned around. I was like, those look like homosexuals.
And you clocked us. Because we 1,000,000% are and were.
And I was like, are you here for the meetup? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, perfect. Me too. Who are you? And then we like hung out the whole week.
Correct.
You like adopted me into your friend group and it was great.
We've literally done 2 or 3 other cruises with Amanda from there. And like I live in Florida now. And so like we're visiting Amanda because we wanted to come see Amanda. So like that was truly like a life-changing, I guess, like cruise. It also was wild because we didn't know this, but Amanda lived like 10 minutes away from us when we did live in Jersey. There was one time that I had a couple friends that got together and they were like, oh, we're going to do like a couples weekend. Sorry, Devin, you're not invited. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, but like, what are you all doing at a couples weekend that's gonna like be like no like single friends?
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't understand is like I get it if like, because some single people have like a really down personality about being single where it's like, oh, I wish I had someone. And like they're just like kind of like negative, like oh, like they kill the mood. But I feel like if you have a personality where like you're just there to vibe and have a good time, like what does it matter if you're single? Like why does it that's the other thing is like why does it only have to be couples? Like why can't you just have like a random single person there? What's the big deal? And why is it uncomfortable for them to have someone 3rd or 5th or 7th or 9th or 11th whatever wheel? Like why is that a big deal? I don't understand.
Well, you know, and I think that like we go into those situations like knowing we're going to be the 3rd wheel, but yet we still say yes. It's not like we're in there and they're like sitting next to each other like, I was a couple. No, I'm like, okay, work divas, have so much fun. Like do what you need to do, but like I'm okay just like existing in this friendship,
right?
And that's okay,
especially because like when you do go out with them a lot of times like they're fighting and you're like, oh, you know what, I'm good here. I'm solid. Like you see your couple friends fight while we're out and you're like, you know what, I'm here having a good time because I don't gotta worry about that. That's crazy. So
yeah, there's so many times that I've been like, why do you want me to be in a relationship? You look miserable.
Literally.
You are not being a good like picture of what a healthy relationship could look like. So why do I want to knowingly embark on that journey? I don't.
Correct. And I think it also helps to have this mindset, right? Because then you're more selective when you do date, right? Because like I am so selective when I date. Like it is not very often that I date. And when I do, it's like I really have to like the person. Like I don't develop feelings for people very easily. Like it's very, very, very rare for me that happens. And it's because I'm so content with my life. Like I'm happy in my life and I don't feel like anything is missing from my life. And so like I don't like look for someone to fill any voids because I don't feel like there is a void.
Correct.
And that's why, like, you know, relationship should add, like, it should be an additional thing. It shouldn't be filling a void. And when you feel that way, you're able to like really be selective in dating and like who you're choosing to have in your life.
I can afford my lifestyle that I would like to live by myself. So I'm not looking for, I mean, I guess maybe the last guy I was looking for, because he had 17,000 after taxes, that I was like, oh, I don't have that. And he was like, oh my God, you don't have to work. Again, I'm like, I was fucking crazy for saying no to that, man. Sometimes I joke about that, but then sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm not really joking. But here we are. He doesn't talk to me because he can't be friends with his exes, which is fine. But it's funny because I will joke that I'm lonely girl table for one for the rest of my life. And everyone's like, oh my God, no, you're not going to be. I'm like, I kind of want to be. Like, again, it's like you always see everyone like in a relationship, or like the portrayal of the single friend in movies is always like the sad friend. And, oh, but I really just want a relationship. And I'm like, it couldn't be me.
Yeah, I've never like yearned for a relationship. It always just kind of finds me, you know?
Out of the depths, here comes a relationship.
It'll be like, it's like, oh, Amanda's doing really, really well mentally, so I'm gonna fuck up her life with a relationship, and I'm gonna test that woman. And you know what? I love a good test. I love a challenge.
You absolutely do love a challenge.
I do.
1,000%.
That's the other thing with being hyper independent is, so when I met someone who was long distance, my therapist was like, this is actually perfect for you because you're hyper independent and you have your own life. And this, because it's long distance, can only really add to your life. Like it can't really take over your life because of the distance. So maybe that's what we're built for.
An interesting conversation was that, like, you move to a city. Do you really think that your person potentially is only going to be in that city, or they're going to be farther away, you know? And so, like, when you're on, like, okay, the newest, everyone alert, the newest dating app, like, ring the alarm, is Facebook dating. And, okay.
Stop it right now.
No, I am being 1,000% real. The amount of people that I know recently who have found their, like, they're literally like, I swear off dating, I'm never going to do it, then go onto Facebook dating and find their partner have been with them for like a year and a half, 2 years is truly crazy. So I downloaded Facebook dating, and all the people that were in my area, I'm like, I don't like any of these options. And then, but I'm matching with these people that are like in North Carolina or in, you know, up in New York, or in, one guy was in Hawaii. And I'm like, oh, I could be into this one. Because again, you're right. Like, it's not like, I don't have to see you every day, all day, thinking about you all day, every day. Like, every once in a while, I was like, great. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
But the likelihood that your soulmate, which I don't actually fully believe in,
Agree.
It's in that city that you are in, is very rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare.
It is rare, given like how many people exist in the world. I don't necessarily know that I believe in soulmates, and I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the idea of it being a soulmate. I think that, like, when it comes to having a partner and choosing a partner, that's exactly what it is like choosing a partner. And it's like, when you meet someone, it's like, okay, is this someone I want to, like, if you want to be with someone forever, like, if that's what you believe in, is this someone I want to build this life with? And I don't think it's like, I think it's like emotion based, but it's also like, love is a feeling, but love is also a choice, right? Because eventually, like, the butterflies and all that fades out.
Correct.
And
honeymoon phase goes away.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase goes away, and it becomes a choice of, like, loving someone, and it becomes a choice of, like, doing the things you do in a relationship and choosing to choose that person every day and prioritize that person and that person's needs above, like, maybe other people in your life, right? Not much above, right? But, like, because your friends are also important, your family is also important, but like choosing that person and choosing to love them. So I think, like, we get wrapped up in this idea of like soulmates, but I think that even for something like that, like you're choosing like a life partner, the likelihood of that person being in, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 miles of you, like, come on, slim to none.
Correct. I honestly, I feel like if there ever was like an actual like quote unquote soulmate, it's actually your friends.
Agree.
You're because like oftentimes you're going into a friendship not looking for that physical relationship, but it is emotional in certain sense, and your friends are honestly there for you forever. And so I think that like if you're going to have a soulmate, it'll most likely be your friend. My best friend and I, we are incredibly close, but we're not like trying to get into a relationship like because like but we're still there for each other like emotionally, spiritually, whatever you think. Like I know that he will always be there for me, and I think like that he is more so quote unquote what a soulmate would potentially be, and we're not trying to get into a relationship.
Right, because when you do go through those breakups, that's who's there for you.
Correct.
Right? So like that is in essence like your soulmates, and it is your friendships. And I think that like when people get into relationships, they kind of like throw their friendships aside sometimes, and like you can't do that. Like you have to also like maintain your friendships, and that's why I say like you prioritize your partner, because I do think your partner should be prioritized.
Yes.
But not much above your friendships, because your friendships are still equally as important.
Correct.
And I think that kind of gets lost.
If not more important, because they're going to call out all the bullshit that your partner is doing.
Yeah.
But I've lost several friends because I would put all my eggs into that relationship basket, because I'm like, okay, well, I have a good friendship here, so let me focus on this. But then your friends are like, well, what the fuck, dude? Like,
where are you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Where? Hello?
And it happens, and it's easy for it to happen. But I think it's like you have to just like be mindful, and that's the thing with being an adult is like adult friendships are hard, and you have to put work into it. You have to put work into all of your relationships as a whole, whether they be friendships, romantic partners, family, like they require work. Just be single and have no friends, and then you don't have to work at anything. And that is the answer.
And have dogs.
And
honestly,
have dogs.
They're all that you'll ever need in life.
Truly, just like be single, have no friends, and only have dogs, and you will be golden. No stress.
Correct.
Literally.
Ever.
You know, listen, most people like they want to be in relationships, but like I think being single is nice. It's really good, and it's how you find yourself. And being single and finding yourself and knowing who you are is beneficial for when you do eventually decide to date.
Agree. Because you know who you are without someone, and you're comfortable with yourself and not needing that extra person. It's just like an added bonus instead of like a necessity kind of thing.
Right. And that is important. Relationships should add, they shouldn't take away. And you should take some time to figure out who you are and be single and what you like. So like when you do get into that relationship, you're ready and you're confident in you as a person. But this was fun. Thank you for joining Tatas and Tea as a guest.
Yeah, as the number one fan of this podcast.
Literally the number one fan.
Excited to be here.
Well, where do you listen to this podcast?
So I listen to this on Apple Podcasts, or
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. That's where I listen to this, and I also watch it on YouTube as well. Okay,
yeah, and we are also on Spotify and social media. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Tatas and Tea Pod. So if you want to be a guest or you have a topic you want to hear, message us somewhere. We also have an email, but no one ever emails. So find us. But thank you for joining. And I hope you enjoyed this episode about how being single is the only answer.
Correct.
Thank you.
Listen up, fans, we're Tatas and Tea, where we turn our traumas into comedy. But we're here for some fun to retell our life tales, from hilarious dates to epic fails. You want some advice, just ask away, but we'll share our opinions either way. No problems too big, no questions too small. With Tatas and Tea, we'll cover it all.